Megan Bell's a production designer. We've worked with her for several years.
Yep.
She's absolute delight. You know, you meet these people and you're like, well, it's going to be this job and that's going to be one and done.
Yeah.
And her excitement and everything, she's so infectious, the way she is, and she kind of swoops you into her atmosphere of happiness and like can do that. It's really inspiring for, you know, producers and stuff.
Okay,
Here we are. Meg Bell.
Yes. Welcome, Meg Bell, to Eyes On, me and Tanner's new podcast.
Thanks for joining
this is
us.
very
Do
exciting.
you know why we call it Eyes On?
No.
Okay. You know Walkie Talk. You're on the walkie all the time, right?
Yeah,
On set.
Really, I get distracted by the walkie.
But what
so
channel-
I try
what channel
not
are
to.
you
What
on?
channel?
Arts usually on 4.
Arts on 4.
Arts
So
on
we're
4.
production's always on 1.
Yeah, I
And-
can't be on 1.
With production, you're always listening to the ADs, and they're like, "Who's got eyes on production
Oh,
design?
yeah.
Who's got eyes on da da da?"
Yes.
Like, I got eyes on. So
Who's got
today
eyes on talent?
we have eyes on Meg Bell.
Oh, that's so exciting! I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
That's
Do you
good.
like it?
Yes, I really like it.
We
Cool.
focus group that for like months.
And by focus group, we mean we asked John and Simran, and then
And they said,
Uh,
yeah, that works.
I ran it by my partner
It's good.
Todd, and he said, "I don't know what it means." And I explained. He's like, "Oh, that's cute." I was
Yeah,
like,
it's
"So I
cute,
just have
it's
to
good.
explain it to everybody, and then it's great."
And the lead-in is perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now
What's
I
the
get
good
it.
walkie talk on Channel 4?
Oh, I mean, most of the art department's often very distracted in general. So usually our channel sometimes has nothing even to do with what's going on set. It'll be like, I mean, you saw
What you
my-
bought on Instagram today?
Yeah, earrings on Instagram. It'll be, I don't know, who's working on some project off to the side. We're always doing random things. It's like, who's making a most random thing? Silicone bacon belt today. And how far along is that going? And what glue do we use for that?
Okay, so what is the most random thing you've ever had to make? Most random? Oh, it's probably for our show, Golden Revenge, isn't it?
Yes. Definitely going to be from Golden Revenge.
Well, yeah,
Okay, so-
take people back, I guess, a little bit.
Describe what Golden Revenge was real fast.
Golden Revenge was a feature we were doing for
It was a
Warner
series.
Brothers, and then it was broken up into a small series that was going to go on Verizon Go 90 for short form. It was basically what it was a parody of. It was a parody of the long
Kill
Homeward
Bill
Bound.
of the Journey
meets
Home.
meets
Yeah.
Homeward Bound.
Homeward Bound meets Kill Bill.
That's
Yes.
how it was
So
pitched to me.
With live-action animals.
The
Yeah.
live action animals, instead of trying to get home, they're trying to seek revenge on the person that
Yes.
marooned them in the woods. That was
Yeah.
the concept, and it involved lots of animals and some.
And it
Bizarre.
sucked. To
And when
work
I
on.
loved it.
Oh, did
And
you?
when I just remember getting the breakdown for it because I was recommended by a mutual production designer to Colleen because he wasn't available, so he had recommended me. So I knew none of you.
Yeah.
That's how you came in. I
Yeah, and it kind of it's one of those things. I was telling them that it's if I'm not available, sometimes I'll recommend someone, and then sometimes that comes back. And this was a perfect example. I had recommended this guy for a job in December, and then a couple weeks later, he wasn't available. So he was like, "You might want to do this show." And I was like, I read the breakdown, and I'm a giant animal lover. I think my bio on my website even says if I wasn't a production designer, I would have been a veterinarian. And I remember getting the breakdown and being like,
This is my movie.
I need this job.
Yeah.
Like
And did you wear an animal print shirt to
I
the
did.
interview?
I wore
Probably.
giraffes.
As you are now, and I
Yes.
wore one for you
I
today.
wear-
I'm wearing flamingos. You can't probably see it, but
So yeah,
My whole wardrobe.
Meg's wardrobe consists of animal
Yeah,
print clothes. Every
it's-
time you see her, that's
It's my brand
she's-
now,
yeah.
so everyone remembers that about me.
But I remember you were so emphatic and had so much energy during that interview and your passion for animals. I was like, how do we hire any? I mean, she might be terrible at her job, but like she's gonna be stoked every day. So let's go for it.
I remember.
That's what kind of
I think
producer
it
I
was
am.
you, or maybe Colleen. It was Colleen, I think, that told me the story. Like after that, like after I got the job, I think we were like halfway through production, and she said, the reason you got the job was because after you left, we all looked around the room and not a single one of us wanted to be the person to tell you didn't get the job. So we gave you the job.
Like, you were so happy. We could not crush that spirit. You got it. Hey, it's a good way. It's a
So
good way to
literally
interview.
now I'm like every interview I do, I really try to channel that. I don't think I've ever brought that same level of enthusiasm
Just
since then, but
vibe is so important in an interview. I mean,
Yes.
we had somebody who'd come in that I was in the interview for, who she didn't have a cigarette in her hand, but she might as well had. And she just says like, "Yeah, I can do this job for you guys." And we were just like, this is not going to be a fun process. Just wasn't into it. Didn't have the right vibe. And then you walked in, you're like, "I love animals. I love."
I was
everything."
ready.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that.
And
for
actually,
so
every
bad.
day on set, you were there and you were happy to be there, and I saw
Yeah.
you upset a few times.
It was awesome.
Sure.
but
It's a great, because everyone's either grumpy, you're there early, like everyone's freaked out, but to
Yeah.
come to every set and have like a big beaming face and always like excited, is like, oh, let me show you this. Look at what we're building here. And it's just like,
There were so many
it's
ridiculous
great.
things we built on that job, though. It was hard to like not be excited.
in terms of interviews and crew hiring and vibing, because it's often, I mean, obviously you want the highest skilled people you can possibly get, but also you're going to be spending months.
I don't really hire people that way, to be honest.
Go for it.
There's a few things I always consider when I'm brought on to do a job. I kind of assess what the job is, and generally I approach it. I put attitude before skill, honestly, because the skills I can teach. I came up as a production designer, starting as like an art department of one. I mean, like the first movies I did, I was the only person for the whole art department. So in many ways, I learned how to do, like, just through experience, many of the jobs within my department. So as my budgets kind of grew, I kind of got to add more people and you kind of craft it and build it block by block. And in doing so, I learned pretty much everybody's job. I didn't start as like an art director under a production designer and kind of jump to the top that way. I really learned it from the ground up. So to me, I can teach all those jobs or pair somebody up with someone who I know they're gonna thrive with. So
Yeah.
when I go to hire, it's choosing the right people for the job, and imperative number one is you have to have a good attitude. And you could be the best person, you could have the biggest resume, you could have won an Emmy for production design, but if you're not the right person for the job and you're not going to like, I don't want to hear about your production design Emmy on the job I've hired you for. Like, that's great, but
Yeah.
like, you've agreed to do this job.
Yeah.
So I think trying to find, that's the most important thing to me usually when I go to crew up, is attitudes and making sure that everybody's going to work well together, because
And
the skills
when-
can be taught.
When were you first aware of the production design as a job? Like, and did that become a goal for you?
It did. So it's funny. I'm a giant Harry Potter fan, and I think if you are within 2 years of my age, those are your, what I consider like Harry Potter super fans, and that's because we kind of grew up with Harry. Like the
Yeah,
first
Kind
book,
of the same age as
yes,
Yeah.
the first book came out, I believe, when I was 10, and Harry would have been 11. So I had read, I think it was 4 books by the time the first movie was coming out. And I was one of those people, like my mom took me to Walden Books at the mall at midnight when these books were coming out.
Books.
Yes.
Aw.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
We go at midnight for the book launch, and I remember being in like this closed mall and just standing at like the chain link down, just waiting for midnight when they would put it up and like sell books for like an hour to get the new book.
Wow.
And I remember going home at like, 1 a.m. and like starting to read it, and my mom being like, you have like, you got to wait till tomorrow. Like, you got the book.
Mom,
like,
you got me the
Yeah.
book at 1
Yeah,
a.m.
1
What did you
a.m.
think was going to happen?
Yes.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's super
And,
cute.
so by the time the first movie was coming out, I already, like, I'm a very visual person. So reading the books, I kind of had this idea in my head of what Hogwarts looked like,
Sure.
and, what the Burrow looked like, and, everybody's
Everything.
houses is like
Yeah.
what the characters look like. So when I went opening weekend to see Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and I remember leaving that movie and wondering who was the person that got to decide
What it
what
looked
it
like.
looked like.
Yeah.
Because it's like we all had read the same source material.
Yeah.
So it was like I knew that. So I then
Did it line up with
I,
what
like,
you were thinking, or
worked-
no? Was it like,
No,
that
it
was
did.
horrible?
No,
Oh,
it lined
okay.
up completely. And I was like, how did somebody else have the same idea like that I had? Who is
Yeah.
that person?
Yeah.
Who got to do that? So then I actually kind of backed into it because I was so curious of who got to choose
Yeah.
what Hogwarts looked like,
And you're
and
like,
like
I
how
wanna
to
do
make
that.
how
I
to
wanna-
make a moving staircase. It's like all these things that were so fantastical in the book, and when you read it, and
Can you imagine the pressure of taking a beloved book series like
I
that
know.
and having to live up to it?
yeah, and it's funny, like maybe it wasn't as much pressure because the audience was the readers were so young.
Yeah. That's
but
true.
I mean,
It
just
wasn't like
what it
the
was,
personal
or
pressure
what
for
it grew
wanting
up-
to do it right.
grew into.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
That makes total sense that you saw it and were
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
taking this abstract visual, and then you're like, who does
And I was,
that?
who does it? That's
Yeah.
somebody's
So how old were
job.
you there when you were like 'cause
8th grade.
8th grade, yeah.
Yeah.
And you start to deconstruct a movie and go,
Yeah.
well, someone decided that.
Someone decided
Someone
that. Someone got
shot
to
this-
pick
Yeah.
that. So then I kind of like anytime I would go see stuff after that, I had that in mind. And
But you talked about you growing up, and where was that?
I was in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania. So
Mhm.
okay, so take us
Not
Pennsylvania.
exactly Hollywood.
No, I
How did you
not
make it out
Hollywood
here?
at
How
all.
did you? What was your?
So I remember, in high school, it's like I'll be honest. I was a very good student. I was a good test
Be
taker.
totally
like,
honest. I
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah,
knowing
I was
you.
Yep.
very good at math, very good at sciences. My mom was a math teacher and my dad studied finance. So it's like I had that background.
Mhm.
And I remember being in like my senior year of high school at like a National Honor Society thing, and they asked me, it was like an interview situation. My parents were there watching, and they said, well, what do you want? Like, what do you want to study in school? And I said, I want to be a production designer. I want to study art. And I remember my parents being, what? Like,
Oh.
no, like
yeah.
you could have been a doctor or a lawyer. Like, are you sure? Like, I remember getting done with that, and they were like, cringe. And then I started looking into it more like my senior year as you're like applying for college, and I
So you
found
did this in high school.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no,
wow,
this has
okay.
been my path for a very long time. There's not really a major for production design.
No,
and you'll
exactly.
find that even still.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird skill set. A lot of the film schools, if you go to film school, you're not in film school for production designing. You're there to be a director.
You didn't go to film
producer.
school? Or
I
you
did not go to
Yeah,
film school,
yeah.
no. I ended up going to Clemson University in South Carolina. They didn't even have a film program.
Wasn't a thing.
Was not a thing. I kind of made my own production design major, as I like to say. I have my main degree is in fine arts with an emphasis in sculpture. So I have a
Sculpture.
really,
Ah.
yeah. So my base is all in fabrication, materials, building,
Oh, that kind of makes sense.
spatial design, because I was 3-dimensional, not 2-dimensional. And even just learning, I always say like doing that, going through that process, like I will never undervalue art school or art as a major, because I think it actually teaches you so many more important life skills than other majors might.
Sure.
My curriculum was given to me. It would always be like, okay, here's the topic. Now you have to come up with a project, and we'd have to pitch it. We'd have to come up with like 4 concepts. We'd pitch it to our professor. We'd figure out which one was the best one. And then you'd have a certain amount of time to execute your design.
Mm.
So it's like, it's pitching, it's time management, it's budget, because
Production.
I didn't get I wasn't getting money from Clemson University to do my art projects. Like that was my own money was what I
Sure.
was making these things with. So I was always having to be budget conscious. And it's like you'd get closer and closer to your critique day, and it's like your project you had to deliver. And so it's some people were pulling all-nighters, some people were like working ahead, and you'd always have unexpected things would happen very similar to production, and it's like, oh crap, like I got to figure this out so that it's ready, because you couldn't reschedule the critique.
Yeah.
And then the critique itself was it was a critique of your peers. So you had to then present the project and then be critiqued by your peers.
Yep.
And I think all of those are really valuable skills that you're not necessarily getting just going and taking a finance test.
Yeah. I mean, similar to film school. We did the same sort
Yeah,
of thing.
probably
where
similar, where
we had to
you
do our films
yeah,
and
present them. And
present them, and it was
Mhm.
our peers that gave the grades. It was all kind of like audience test scores.
Yeah,
where
and
we-
you had to participate, and you couldn't you would kind of get knocked as a participant if you just gave positive feedback. So they
Yeah.
wanted you to give
Critical-
constructive
constructive,
criticism. Yeah, that was all part of the grade. And then I do also have a business degree.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, so what would you say in terms of working in the industry, on-set, offset, and development? Some key do's and don'ts. Like it could be cautionary tales, but something that you're like, look, try not to do this, or like what really works or have worked for you, anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say rules I have for myself that I won't ever do. You'll never see me yell at anyone. if I'm gonna give constructive criticism, I usually don't do it in front of others.
Mhm.
Like your first strike, second strike, I'm gonna pull you aside and we're gonna have a talk about it, like just us. Um, and then usually afterwards, I always, always, always. You guys have worked with me, you've seen me do it. I very much always try to make sure my team is having fun. Um, especially on the hard days, it's like I feel very strongly like negative attitudes do ripple through.
And you're there with your team.
I'm very
I've seen some
involved.
production designers that are like, drop in. Okay, everybody's working hard. Okay, bye.
ya.
But you're their first call, last out.
I
with your
am,
team,
yeah.
I've seen
Mostly
you.
that's just because I'm like a person that really suffers from severe FOMO, and I just feel like I'm gonna miss something if I'm not there. And I love it. Like I really do love it. Like making stuff and being on set is my
And you like your team,
And I
because
love
you
my
put them
team.
together. So
Yeah.
you're working with friends, and I think that's important.
yeah. I'm not
too.
gonna leave them high and dry, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah,
my other rule is from my own team is if you mess up, tell me first. I'm there to help you solve the problem.
yes.
And I like to tell people it's only a problem if other departments find out about it.
Right.
And I'm going to be your best person to make it go away. So you
Yeah.
should tell me as soon as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm your best shot at fixing it. So you need to just tell me when something goes awry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might tease you about it later, but in the
Yeah.
moment, I'm going to be the one that's going to help you fix it fastest. So
Because then that's what happens. So something goes wrong.
like we're all going to make mistakes.
Somebody misses
I make
something,
mistakes.
make
I will be the
mistake.
first person to be like, I screwed that
Yeah.
up.
And when things have happened like that on our shoots, you come to us and say, "Hey, director asked for a Tijuana type blanket,
Yeah.
and we didn't get it last night. But here's my 3 options and when I can have it for you. And can we, and it's like you
we
come
move
with
some
some
stuff around?
solutions
Yeah.
and some this and that.
Yeah.
And it
Always
just-
come with solutions.
But I could see, normally if not high, you're under a lot of stress as the director. So you need people to come with you with options that you're just choosing,
Yeah.
not trying to actually solve a problem, but choose the solution for the problem that's been
Yeah.
presented to you.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Anything else like when it comes to, I'd say breaking down a script initially, or just you're interacting with the director for the first time? Because sometimes you've never met these people, so you don't really know how to
No.
communicate how they work.
Yeah, and it's funny, we were talking earlier about enthusiasm in an interview and reading the room that way. I personally always prefer in-person interviews. I like to meet people in person.
Yeah.
I just feel like even for me,
Versus like Zoom.
I hate Zoom.
Ah.
I just feel like I can't. There's so many things you miss on
Yeah.
Zoom. Whereas like if I look at so many more things about someone rather than just like what's coming out of their mouth. And especially if I'm meeting you for the first time, like I'd rather meet you for coffee or even like a happy hour. Cause things like, how that person interacts with like a server,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The-
what
the
they do when the
intangible.
check comes. It's like
Yeah.
just like little things, like how particular are they when they order? Like, are they a person that orders and then modifies the heck out of the order? Like,
Yeah. Are
that's
they
going to
rude
be
to the waiter?
yes, exactly. Like
Yeah.
those are like I'm looking at those things
Indicators.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's how you're going to treat me on set,
Mhm.
most likely.
Yeah.
When I worked for Tom Cruise, his chief of staff told me how he did interviews. Unfortunately, I was already there. But he would say, he would schedule an interview. Person would show up, and then he would say, "Okay, let's hop in your car and go to a coffee shop," because he wanted to see what the
Inside the car.
inside of their car looked like.
Oh wow.
And the inside of my car was full of wrappers, fast
you're the
food.
worst.
It was. I'm
I can
better
only
now,
imagine.
but like in my 20s,
I
was
wish
like,
people would do that to me. The inside of my car is immaculate.
bet.
Oh,
It is.
no.
Yes.
I have a-
smoker at the time.
No,
it was just
no.
crazy. It was.
I
it was
still
te- it was
have
bad.
I still have my car from college. I have a 2004 Honda Civic that is in mint condition that I refuse to get rid of.
Whoa, Yeah.
Nice
And
work.
oh yeah, and my my partner's always says he's like if you sell a show, you're gonna get a new car, right? And I was no, absolutely not. I am going to drive that 2004 Honda Civic and park in an executive producer parking spot at a studio lot.
I have a friend.
That
who's
is
like
my
that.
dream.
Yep.
And that is going to happen. And he's like, we've had this conversation. He's like, really, why? I'm like, are you kidding me? Nobody wants to work that hard for a person driving like a Lamborghini. But you know what? They're going to work their tail off for someone driving a 2-door Honda Civic from
Honda Civic.
2004.
Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome. That reminds
It's
me
about to
when
be vintage.
I had a
Yeah.
plant my freshman year in college, and I kept it alive to my senior year. And one of my roommates even threw it out for a time. So I rescued this thing several times over the course of 4 years. and I walked with it for graduation. I was like, I have to.
Wait, what?
You never. Well, I was just so happy. I mean, I'm a college kid, and I kept this plant alive for 4
I am
years.
impressed you kept
This
it.
is not
But
where I
then-
thought this story was going, but okay.
But then they took it from me because they thought I was walking up with like a marijuana plant or something.
So you lost the plant at
Yeah.
graduation? They wouldn't give it back?
I don't remember what happened to it. I mean, I didn't care at that
I mean,
point.
that's kind of tragic.
I know. Like, and clearly, it's
I
like
thought
you've
you
never
were
seen a
still,
marijuana
I
plant
still have
before.
this plant. I still,
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? I have a plant like it, not the same
Yeah.
plant.
Oh my
I'd
gosh.
rescued it from the garbage. Like, it'd been through hell. But anyway,
Yeah, that's an odd story. But,
didn't it tie in somewhat? Was it?
no.
Amazing
Keeping
story,
a Honda
though.
Civic?
Yeah.
Okay,
Keeping-
okay.
I mean, I
don't
still
know.
have
Yeah,
mine,
that's-
though.
I know that's
They
what
didn't
popped
take
up
it
in
from
my
me
head.
at
I got you.
graduation.
I'm trying to relate to this conversation.
So I graduated in December and we moved 2 weeks after I graduated. We
Wow.
threw furniture in a U-Haul. Now, neither one of us, neither one of us is a Nepo baby. Neither one of us had any family members in the business. We literally we knew no one. We moved to Hollywood and we are like,
Okay, so no leads. It was
Nothing.
just we'll just
Totally
show
cold.
up.
just showed up. Like, we were like, I'm just going to figure it out.
Wow.
And we did that. We got an apartment in Franklin Village on Franklin and Gramercy.
Yep.
So we were right in the mix and just started. We would go out and just kind of like see who we could meet.
What
And
do you mean go out? Like just walk the streets and
yeah, we'd go eat lunch in places. And like, I am a very social person.
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
you
I
are. That is
know.
true.
People
I
meet me and
know.
they're like, I feel like I know you. And
Yeah.
and I always like to say, well, you might have met me in a line at Target. Like I probably had a whole conversation with you. Like you might have met me. You might know me. I don't know.
You spend a lot of time at Target,
Yeah.
returns and pickups.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
you know.
It's like you might have met me there. I don't know. But yeah, so we kind of I'm trying to remember what even
Well,
like
so what was the first hit? What was the
well,
what
so
was your first?
in
What was
kind
your,
of-
your big break? I won't say
well,
big break, but
it's funny because in kind of just going out, like I learned about do you remember Mandy.com?
Yeah. The crew website.
It was like a place to get crew jobs. So I like had a profile on there and I remember the first couple things that I submitted for were basically back to the idea of like production design isn't like a path
yeah,
at
and you
film
were
school.
were you putting yourself out as like I'm a production designer? Or were you just- what-
I would just look and see what people were posting. It's like they're looking for an art director, they're looking for a production designer, and I would just
But did you even know what these terms were? Like, I mean, even me, sometimes it's like, okay, early on, it's like, what's the difference between a production designer and an art director?
Actually, I would
an
still like
on-set
that
dresser
defined,
on a,
'cause-
Yes.
all these things.
I can
and what
define
is
that.
the kind of hierarchy, so to speak?
yeah.
Like,
So technically, we're gonna get in the weeds here for a minute. Technically, production designers we're all art directors. So like the title production design category, like production design is like a job category. It actually isn't even when you go to do your start paperwork, it's not actually
it's not.
Right.
it's not actually a
there.
designation. Like, yeah, you can't, it's not even in our contract.
Yeah.
As of now, we're all art directors. Production design is like a title that is, it's earned and like given and recognized by the Art Directors Guild.
So within the guild, it's directed
Yeah.
as a designation of like,
Mhm.
hey, you are
Yeah.
at this level now,
Mhm.
so you're a production designer.
Yeah. And
But you're still an art director.
yeah,
You're still
you're
one of
still
us.
You will always
technically-
and forever
I will
be an art
always
director.
be an art
Does the
director.
Oscar go for production design or for art direction?
Production design.
Ah.
Because the first ever title of production design was on Gone with the Wind. That was the first time
Oh.
production design was ever designated.
Thanks for coming with the
Yes.
trivia, Meg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my
Really?
craft.
Yeah.
Well, Meg is also the producer of the Art Director Guild Awards.
Art Directors Guild Awards, yes.
Yes,
I've
and
done
it has been for like 3 years.
Yeah, we've completed 3 years, and I've agreed to do the 30th show next year. So
Ooh,
That'll
is
be
it going
my
to be a
fourth.
big blowout
it
type
is.
of thing?
We already designed. My co-producer and co-designer. He and I work really well together, and we love it so much. We've already designed the logo for next year's show, and we only just
Okay.
did
Yeah.
the 29th 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
Got to be
we
some
already-
pressure to design the
this-
set for
it's-
the Art Directors
that's
Guild.
what everybody, all of our presenters, our hosts, everyone says the same thing. They're like, you have to design the set and the show for a room full of production designers. And yes, it is a little stressful. We're used to it now, but and everybody now comes to like love our different themes, and we try to really change it up every
Okay, I
year.
have an idea for you.
Oh,
Maybe not for the 30th, but you should have a non-production designer, like a producer, design it. And then you can just show everybody, and here's why we exist.
Yes. Listen, that could totally work. This year we had to do we usually end up presenting a category. This year we presented in memoriam, and they thought it would be a good idea. Our show director was like, let's get fancy and have somebody present from the audience, like so that the camera's looking with all the people in the background rather than up on the stage. Well, yeah, great idea, but when you do that, you don't get to read off the teleprompter. So yeah, so they, when we were picking like who was going to do that, well, the lucky candidate ended up being Alan and I for the in memoriam bit, which is also like pressure's on. Like I can't mess up and riff and make a joke there.
Right.
So this year we were both sitting at dinner, and we had at our table Jason Ritter and Sky Marshall from Matlock, and they were sitting like two people down from me, and Alan and I are sitting there trying to memorize these these couple lines, to basically introduce the in memoriam reel that was going to play. And I look over at one point, I'm in the zone, sitting there trying to memorize these lines, and I look over and Jason Ritter's just laughing. And I was like,
at you?
Yes. He's like, see, learning lines isn't fun. And I like literally, he's like, see, it's hard. And then I like whipped around and I was like, you can design the set next year.
Yeah.
So
I think so. You're onto something.
And then does everything run through you? So if props
meaning
needs
the production designer.
Yeah. So like
top?
say we need a ray gun designed, a space gun, and props designs that, right?
Yeah, they'll design it. They'll come up with like, the concepts and what they think it should be, but then ultimately the production designer oversees all of that. So
and then do you take what you're happy with to the director, who you've already talked with?
I've already had those conversations. Basically, like the way the hierarchy is like I'm the person that talks to the director for the department. It's like that way the director's not getting inundated with like, because my team is, depending on the size of the show, like it can be huge. We're like I think we are the biggest department on set typically.
I mean, and look at any set and just how many pieces of set dressing, wallpaper, carpet. There's
everything.
So much that has to be decided.
There's a lot. Yeah. And so it's like, that's way too much to go anywhere past the production designer. So, it's like the important things, it's like, okay, like the key hero pieces, yes, definitely those I'll show to the director. It's like, these are what we're thinking. Like, but even leading up to that, like I'll have had all the conversations with, typically it's the cinematographer and the director, and I kind of figure out, okay, this is like what we need to have. We need this much room to do this scene. Like the camera's going to be over here. It needs to see this much, and then I kind of take that information and then disseminate it down to the rest of my team to make sure like what we deliver is going to work for all the other departments.
Yeah.
But then, we have, and then like set decorators, like head of the set dressing team. So it's like decorator, and then she or he has all the set dressers below them. Those are the people usually moving around loading all your stuff in, loading all your stuff out. They're like the finishing wave.
Yeah, and I think
after the
a lot of
construction
people,
wave is done.
Right. They don't think of when they watch a movie is like sets wrap. So you've got a whole team like returning stuff and breaking stuff down while one's being done. So it's
We're just perpetually moving in and out.
It's not like you do it all and then now shoot it.
Yeah.
It's a.
If you hate moving homes, don't become.
Yeah. And
don't work in the art department.
In many regards, it's like movers.
It's like you're constantly moving. Yeah.
It's like you moved everything in and then they didn't like it and then
Mm-hmm.
you move it out like the next day. And it's just constant that and keeping track of everything if it's rentals and everything.
Oh, yeah. Of what house they all have to go back to. Yeah. It's
and
very
what happens?
tedious.
So, I mean, and the reason that.
And then the producers get mad because they're like, how could you lose this prop? And you're like, I returned 1,500 different things, and one thing got lost.
The pencil got slipped into another, and usually it does get returned. It's
it
just
usually gets found. I'm always amazed. Yeah,
they do almost always get found because usually what happens is like it'll get slipped into something, right? Because like, I mean, you go into Warner Brothers and it's they'll have like I'm just thinking of like an office set, right? It's like because this is the one that's gotten me several times. You have like a pencil cup and like all the little things you put in the pencil cup.
Yep.
Well, often you'll put like scissors or like there might be like I don't know a special pen that looks cool and you're like, oh, this will jazz it up. It's like so funny you think down to that detail when it's like
and you think about it in regards to the character who's using it because one character would use one kind of pencil cup and kind of pencils and another would use
so it's like you're sitting there you're picking and what you don't see is that the scissors, it's not like a set. Some of the pencils and pens are just like in the set of the pencil cup, but when you add the scissors might have this like tiny, tiny little barcode hidden on them.
Well,
and
what I
that's a
mean.
separate item.
Everything's barcoded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when
We-
you return it, it's like they'll scan in the pencil cup, but not scan the scissors that are in the cup. So they don't realize they have it until another production goes to
And
rent
then they
it.
go to check
And
it out.
then they go to check
we
it out,
have
and
this
it's
in
like-
our inventory.
Yeah, it's like, wait,
Yeah.
this isn't still on
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean,
show.
definitely
When-
over the years, we've got several. We'd be in the office, and it's like, oh, this has a barcode on it.
Yeah. that's rented.
Well,
Oops.
when we were in college, it was what was the Nev Campbell show? Matthew Fox, Nev Campbell, Party of Five.
Party of Five, yes.
And they
Oh.
took everyone in school on a tour of the Party
For
of Five
production
set,
design
for
class,
Production
yes.
design class.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, if you went to film school in
And-
Los Angeles, you do tours of studios, and we did
That's
a whole.
amazing.
Our good friend Ryan decided to steal
I
some
think I snuck
pictures
in.
of
Well, it
a
wasn't
young Nev-
Ryan. He ended up with it. Someone else took it, but it doesn't matter.
Okay,
In-
well, we won't call
inconsequential
names 'cause
detail.
it's
Yeah.
criminal activity. But he
We
took
don't
the
wanna
frames
nail
of
anyone
young
with
Nev
that.
Campbell
That were like on the piano.
Yeah. And now I hear that, I think of that, I'm like, oh God, that's bad. Like, you got to replace that. You got to, I mean,
Yeah.
continuity wise, but it was like a fun
It
souvenir.
became a
and
white
call it,
elephant
you know.
gift where everyone would get it for
Oh, that's
Halloween
really
or
funny.
holiday parties,
Yep.
and you'd end up with the frame
And it was at the Redford offices for a
Picture
while
of
because
Nev
somebody gave
Campbell.
it to us. And yeah.
From Party of Five.
Iconic.
Yes,
Mhm.
and you knew, and it had the barcode. It was Sony or whatever
Yeah.
studios
Somebody
that shot
had
at.
it.
And
Well,
I do want to
geez.
ask
so that's going to also be a problem. Randos come on set and
Yes,
steal your
Yeah.
props.
well, and like I always like to say, props walk away, and that's how it happens. And
Yeah.
when you don't have enough people to stand there and babysit stuff, it's like, you
Yeah.
know, that's
well,
one
they
of-
do. I just worked on the Connors and on the
Mhm.
final episode of the Connors, and the cast was talking about how they wanted, there's certain iconic props they wanted to keep as keepsakes. And
If it's rented, I mean, you can pay the
but
replacement
they
value.
brought that show back already, once, and so they were very much. There's a lot that they own,
Right.
And the producers. I was working with the producer team, and they were like, "Need to watch to make sure nobody takes
Steals
anything," because there was going to be a
things.
wrap party on the set afterwards.
Oh, yeah, it's going.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where
Yeah.
everything's really gonna walk away.
So what they
that
did
just
was-
sounds
yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah, art department swooped in and cleared.
Take it all.
Cleared everything, but
Yeah. That's crazy. But to finish you had asked when we moved to LA, my first job.
Let's finally
Let me
wrap up
just
this
loop-
story we
Let
started.
me just loop back to see. This is
4
why
segues ago.
when I said I could tell stories for days, like we could be here till 8 p.m. if you want me to keep going. I responded to some things on Mandy.com and found my way to many USC graduate student thesis films.
Of course, yeah.
So then
that makes
that
sense.
ended up
Ah.
in a weird way. That ended up becoming like my little network of people. Was all this like class of USC
Yeah,
graduates.
Yeah.
Many people think I went to USC
sure.
only because of the
You were
people I
there.
hang out with.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was really just because they didn't have production designers within their program, so that was often the job that
Yeah.
they would bring people in. So I it really came full circle because I think one of the first, it was like my second job, I think, off there, was with a gal, Rebecca Esgrice, who I then ended up designing her thesis film. She was like production designing another friend's film and was hiring an art director. So she hired me as the art director. We got to know each other. Then she went on to do her own thesis film. I did that with her. And then, we've kept in touch ever since. This was I would have met her in 2010.
Hmm.
And then I designed her directorial feature debut. And then the project I just had nominated for an Oscar, she produced that. So that's how I got
That's
onto
how you
that
got
as
into
well. So,
that.
yeah, it really came full circle. It's like we met on a short film off of Mandy.com, and then
Yeah.
this
Well, it says
and then
something.
Oscar
we
nominated.
had Oscar
Yeah.
That's
nomination.
amazing.
Yeah,
It says something
Congratulations.
about.
you never know where things are gonna go.
Well, exactly.
you just don't.
Stay friends with people.
Yep.
Don't burn bridges if you don't have to.
No, I would say, I would
and-
say really try not to, because it's such a relationship business, and it's like at the end of the day, everybody wants to work with people they like.
Yeah.
And even I find it all the time. Like I talked to Adam about it because he's in camera department.
Mhm.
So there are
Adam's your partner.
Yes, Adam's my partner. There are many people that I know that I've actually never worked with, but I know they're like bad collaborators
You've
or they're
heard- yeah.
problematic, but I hear it from him, from his department. So it's like, and then
Yeah.
vice versa. Like he knows like from my department, and that's one of those, it's like unexpected. And that's like the wild card in Hollywood that you're never going to be able to predict.
Yeah.
And you're never going to be able to control. It's like you don't know who's dating who. You don't know who's dating who when to
Mhm.
like cross all that information. And it's
Yeah.
like you could be interviewing for a job with someone you have no idea who they are, and they might have dated someone 5 years ago who you had a bad experience with.
Oh yeah, no, we
And
get
then it's like,
resumes and I see,
boom.
oh, they worked with this director. Oh, I know him. I know this producer.
Yeah, all
and
the time. It's like
Yeah.
it's like
very small.
it's
business.
very small and different from like a office job where you go 9 to 5 and you work with the same people for years. I'll work with 50 to 100 new people every time I go onto a job, and
Only repeat maybe 5 years down the road.
right,
and go, "Oh, it's
exactly.
you
And
again."
then
Yeah.
like you go onto another job and it's like, you go back into like a whole hopper and it's like shuffle it up and like
Yeah.
out
Yep.
you are with a whole new batch of people. So it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
people are just constantly crisscrossing. So it's the degrees of separation is so small
Yeah.
that I haven't burned that many bridges, I would say. I've let a couple people
Yeah.
have it. I
Yeah.
try to have very strong boundaries for myself and stick up for my team when I need to. And like,
Yeah, it's a fine line, right?
there's a
Because
fine line.
you-
And I don't, like I said, I don't ever yell. There's no reason to get like really emotional. It's like, always keep it professional. If you are going to give like, point out somebody's shortcomings or, I won't do it. And one time might be a mistake, but if you've misbehaved like 3 times, I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
You were saying.
Well, thank you for never telling us.
I can't-
Maybe we're only at
The
1 or
people
2
I
and you haven't
like.
hit 3 yet.
This is what it was
You'll
an
see
intervention
my-
today.
Yeah.
This is what
She's
she
like,
came
that's
to.
why I came here.
I came
I'm
to
gonna
tell
drop
you.
Put it on the
bomb.
record.
That is what I would do. I'll hold
Yeah.
it for. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a couple people
Yeah.
that are on my. There's a burn list that'll eventually come out. I like to say like decades later.
I'm trying to let my burn list go because it does create this negative energy when I think of certain people. I get hot.
Yeah,
And
I do too.
yeah.
And like, it's hard to not let it
Yeah.
get in. And
Yeah.
you asked me earlier, one of the things when stuff is slow or like things don't seem to be happening as fast as possible, it's like, what do you do then? And what I do and what I've always done is like use those times rather than comparing myself to where other people are at, kind of celebrate their successes. Cause it's like, you'll get successes eventually, but it's like I'm literally after here, I'm going to South by, and it's not because I have a project at South by, but it's a good friend of mine. It's her first feature. She wrote and directed it. It's premiering tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go celebrate her.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
the name of it?
It's called The Astronaut,
Okay.
and they shot it in Ireland.
Ireland,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Oh,
I
love that,
did
though.
not production design it because it was far away, and she
But
ended
that
up.
support is
She ended up
so.
You need to
It
hire
is.
locals for the
She did, and
tax
actually,
credit.
she got to hire a guy that worked on Harry Potter. So I was like, I can't be mad about
Yeah.
that. I would have
Yeah.
hired him too.
Yeah, but that's it. But I mean, going and being supportive of
Yeah.
people and being out there because
Because if you were bitter or angry
What
or
I could
jealous,
like stay at home and be sad that
Yeah.
I didn't design the
but
movie.
you can go and
but-
support and have fun, and who knows what's going to come out of it?
No,
too.
exactly. You just go
Yeah.
like the best place to. I always say you've got a much better shot at meeting people, visiting a set, or just being out and about like amongst other filmmaking people than
Yeah.
sitting at home and sending emails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I get people cold email me looking for jobs and stuff, and like I always try to respond, but at the end of the day, like like a face-to-face interaction or meeting, or like you get to chat with me for 10 minutes at a party is probably going to be
More
much
valuable.
more valuable.
Yeah.
And that's how I approach it for myself. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go have a great time, celebrate her, and be excited, take great pictures of her on the red carpet. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more
Go
thing
to
I
all
want
the
to hit
after
on that
parties.
note, which was because you brought up Mandy, like during that time of breaking in, the industry's changed a lot,
Yes.
and now we've had many strikes and the advent of AI coming in and
Yeah.
all these kind of things. What would be your recommendation for but seeing their Harry Potter and starting to have that inclination of wanting to break in now, like, and I don't know, you might not even have an answer. Like, I don't know what people do.
Well,
nowadays,
I know more now than I did then, honestly. Like there are programs like I'm in 2 unions. I'm in the Art Directors Guild, which is national for production designers, and then New York City is kind of like a weird little holdout. The 5 boroughs of New York City is represented by the United Scenic Artists, which is local 829. So when I work in New York, that's my union there. But both have training programs for people who are brand new. And I think
Oh,
both of
good.
those are really great recommendations for people to like apply to. Basically, that path kind of gets you paired up, it gets you really great mentors. Typically, it can get you like art department PA jobs, which on a union set, you're not going to be able to really. It's a different kind of experience because you can't really be so in it and hands on like you would on like a non-union project, but you get to see how the bigger stuff
Yep.
works.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and you're kind of starting at the bottom there as the office PA, and that's how you get to know the vendors, and you get to know where everything is and where the go-to to buy breakaway glass, or like you need
Yeah.
something to look dusty. Where do you buy that at?
Yeah. Perfect.
It's a little bits and pieces you learn along the way, but
Well, producer Simran is giving us the wrap it up symbol. Well, it is so good to see you and for you to make this stop on your way to South by Southwest and
Yes.
come, appreciate it.
we'll be spreading all the retrofit love in Texas.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, Meg. Thanks again.
Bye, Meg.
I don't know how we end this. Bye.
I don't know either. We'll wave.
Hey listeners, if you've got a burning question for Chris, Tanner, or one of our amazing guests, we want to hear from you. Slide into our DMs at Eyes On Podcast on Instagram, and we might just answer your question on our season finale wrap-up episode. Thank you so much for listening to Eyes On Conversations with Hollywood Filmmakers. Eyes On is hosted by Chris Hanana and Tanner Kling and produced by Simran Porwal-Johnson and Jonathan Mizrahi. The views, opinions, and comments expressed by guests on this podcast are their own and do not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Retrofit Films. This podcast may include copyrighted material used under fair use provisions. All copyrighted material remains the property of their respective owners.